perfect free agents for each AFC West team. I'll go first here for the Chargers. Now, I think that the Chargers' biggest actual need would probably be one more tight end in my eyes. I don't have as much faith as other Chargers fans that are really optimistic, and I appreciate the optimism of the depth that we have at tight end as of today. But I hope that Tyler Conklin can have a good year for us. And then we filter in Will Dissly and the rookie we got. There isn't really any tight ends out there for us to grab. Honestly, a lot are on the trade block. Like Kyle Pitts joined the trade block today. Jonnu Smith was being shopped around. Mark Andrews, Dallas Goedert. There isn't really one out there for us to sign. And then you look at the Chargers at every other position, it's starting to look pretty good. I mean, our secondary is absolutely loaded. They got a bunch of receivers, as we just talked about. Keenan Allen, that would be an absolute fan pick if I said him. I think, like you were saying, Tony, one more edge rusher is what the Chargers need, but not Clowney. I'm not going with Von Miller. I want to go with someone a little bit younger that might have a little bit more juice, that's been injured his whole entire career, but maybe he can find a clean bill of health with our training staff, with Ben Herbert, who somehow got Bosa through that season last year. Let's get Carl Lawson in here as the Chargers take a flyer on him to be our fourth, fifth edge rusher, a guy that can go into the rotation, not take snaps from Tully like you're saying, Tony, but also maybe provide us with some high potential for a guy that could be a third edge rusher down the line or a second edge rusher down the line still as a veteran guy in the room. So I'm going to go with Carl Lawson for the Chargers. I'll let you go ahead, Tony, and go next so we can stay on the Chargers.
I want to strongly disagree with your tight end take. I think that room is got blocking and receiving options in it this year, and I'm one of those very optimistic.
I think you're higher on Tyler Conklin than I am.
He's just a steady player. He catches the football at a high rate, and he's a usable tight end that in bad situations always gets like 500 yards. He's a good red zone option, and I think going to play with the best quarterback that he's ever played with. You could, people would make some arguments otherwise. For me, I would probably, and I can't really say which one it is, but mine would probably be like going interior offensive line. That would be the one spot where I would add a player. But just to give like a name for me, and I don't believe this player is signed. I was trying to look to see if they were there, but a name that's more fun for this podcast is Stephon Gilmore. Like, I know that they would like to play a little bit more man coverage this year. And I think that, while he might not be as athletic as he's been in the past, I think just how smart and how much knowledge he has, that he would still give them a huge boost in that room as far as like bringing in a veteran that's going to be able to pick up the defense really fast. And when you ask him to, like in zone, he's still going to be the guy. Can he still get it done in man coverage well enough where it's like, hey, we're going to let this guy play, like going back and watching Cam Hart play Jamar Chase in that game, like he was fantastic in the first half of that football game. Leaves the game, it's like, okay, so we're sending Cam out there to play man coverage on the one. Can you bring in Stephon Gilmore and have him compete to be like where you feel like you have two really good, strong outside corners, and then finding different ways to still have good tackling on the field, where if you want to be in dime or nickel defenses where you might have Derwin and Still down there too, like that's a good tackling unit while being able to provide some coverage. So
that'll take our secondary to some crazy levels. There's also some connections with Derwin James and Jalen Ramsey also. That would be interesting for similar reasons. Joe, I know that you don't want to see the Chargers sign anyone else, but who do you want to see the Raiders sign?
If I was looking at the free agent market right now, and there's one guy that pops out that I'd be like, I think he'd be great on the Raiders, Justin Simmons. I would like to have Justin Simmons come in, play safety for us. I know they already signed Jeremy Chin, but Jeremy Chin's like a Swiss Army knife that you can move around. You can bring him up in the box. You can linebacker. He's going to lay the hit on the running backs. You can do a lot with Jeremy Chin, and you can have Justin Simmons sit back there. I like Palomau. I like Thomas Harper. I like even Lonnie Johnson, the guy they signed. But Justin Simmons is a top pro and out there playing at a high level, and you can't. It's hard to find good safeties better than that. So, I mean, if you're going to add somebody, he would be somebody at the top of my list.
I think that's a good take. I was going DB for the Raiders too. If I had to pick, I was going to say go ahead and Asante Samuel Jr. seems like a Pete Carroll kind of player. They could use help in the secondary. He's played outside, but he probably should play inside, so you could use him at both and try him out. He's still young. I think he's only 26 or 27 still. He's probably going to take a 1-year deal, but the worry is obviously the tackling. He's not been the best tackler at corner in his career.
Small too.
But
that does not feel like a Pete Carroll.
The one that Raider fans throw out a lot is Mike Hilton. Mike Hilton, yeah.
I could see that working out like a slot guy.
How big is Mike Hilton? I think they're the same size, but
Mike Hilton's he's going to be more of a slot corner.
That's what Asante should be, but he keeps refusing.
I think if you want to watch some fun Mike Hilton highlights or video or whatever, go back to second half Lab McConkey Bengals game.
That was fun for Lad or fun for Mike?
I'm saying it was fun for us Chargers fans watching.
Oh yeah, go Lad. I don't want to see.
I think the Raiders' cornerback position is better than people give it credit for right now. I think the Raiders.
Who's going to be their cornerback one?
Probably Bennett, right? Bennett would have to be the number one, and then you have DeCarian Richardson, which is looking good. You have Eric Stokes, who could become something. So I mean, it's not. I don't think it's too bad of a room right now.
I think it's a lot of ifs, right? Like it's a lot of it's the room of kind of complete unknown at this point, because can you get the most out of Eric Stokes? Richardson, a fast player, bigger corner, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And so it's like, does he reach his potential? Bennett is another fast corner who's shown flashes. I think there's a fourth in there that's also could maybe play, again, if he reaches closer to the ceiling, he's there. Yeah. For me, Joe, I think who's your guys' linebacker that you're like, are we getting to Tom?
Their defense is not good. It's just not good.
I would be looking at CJ Mosley. I would want a veteran linebacker that I know is going to be able to communicate all the calls, be getting guys in places. And so that would either be somebody on the back end like a Justin Simmons or somebody like CJ Mosley in the middle of the field. It's like, hey, we have this experienced middle linebacker. He kind of has the Bobby Wagner role of making sure all these young guys are not having to worry about where they are, he's getting people in place and is able to make adjustments. That's the direction I would go.
That I think is one of the biggest question marks for the Raiders is their linebacker position. But when I was looking at the free agents available, I don't know. I wasn't jumping on any of them. I know they have Devin White. And then they signed Jalen Smith after a rookie camp.
Devin White might actually start.
But isn't
he is listed as the starter right now? Yes.
He's going to be more of an edge guy, and I thought kind of the problems were always that he couldn't be the leader, like the guy who gets people on the same page. Wasn't that kind of the situation with Tampa?
And then they signed Roberts from Pittsburgh this year, which is a hard hitter, not so good in coverage, but that guy can lay the hit. And then I guess they're hoping that some rookies like Gainer and Tommy, what's his name, Tommy Etchenberg from last year. I'm hoping they or whatever. I wasn't a lot of people are high on Tommy Etchenberg. I wasn't impressed with them last year.
I feel you, Joe. Maybe Eric Kendricks is still a player that I think offers, really from that position, you need really strong leadership from that. You need ability, obviously, is very helpful too. But one thing you have to have for the defense to be successful is Bobby Wagner's not playing as good as he did 5 or 6 years ago, but he can still be a really strong presence for the Commanders on that defense. He's still going to be able to communicate what they want for Dan Quinn on the field to make sure everybody's lined up where they need to be, playing their gaps correctly, like audible situations, like line shifts or whatever it is. Like, you need to have somebody that's played a lot of football at that position, or a super freak. You gotta have one or the other. And right now, I don't.
Guys. I think that all three of us are gonna die before the Raiders get another elite corner. I mean, when was the last one? Was it Charles Woodson? That they don't even try. They don't even try at that position anymore. They don't even try at that position anymore. They just are like, well, we're gonna bring in whoever can help us get a higher pick at this point.
Well, that's gonna be very different, I think, under this regime at a certain
point. You think Pete's gonna really prioritize that position over the years. It should change. That's why I had them drafting Barron, Joe. That's the ironic part. Is I had them drafting Barron, and then he falls to the Broncos.
That was my top two picks. It was Mason Graham and then Barron were the two that I thought. But
Mason Graham looks nice too. I know he's just running around in a t-shirt, but just seeing him run drills and stuff, he don't look like a D tackle.
He's a good player. That's why I thought that vomit video you guys sent.
He's bricked up. He's thick.
If Stokes hits, they could have something there. It's like that second landing spot, because he did not pan out for what the Packers thought he was going to be, and if he reaches his potential, that'd be huge for the Raiders.
And the one thing I don't think we're taking into account is coaching. Like, if you could play for the right coach and get the love of the game back at you, like Tony talked about, like Green Bay throws a lot of players out. They get people and it's they get people in there, and sometimes it doesn't work out because of where they're at. But you would think that maybe Pete Carroll can change some of these guys and get you guys saw the question I asked Jeremy Chin. Why did you sign with Las Vegas? Pete Carroll. That was the easiest thing that he said. So maybe coaching can get the best out of some of these players, and we've seen it where you sign a coach and the player is a totally different player the next season.
Yeah, that's happened before for sure. The Chargers were a whole different team from signing a coach last year, from 5 wins to double 11 wins. But really quickly, as a group, what do you think for the Chiefs? I had marked down here briefly. I know we're not talking about trades, we're talking about signings. I still think that they're on the books to trade for Tyreek Hill if Tyreek Hill's price continues to drop intentionally. I'm not being fooled by their BS. They all got matching haircuts. They all are in group chats. They're all in group Twitters. And now Tyreek Hill is literally on live stream basically saying, like, yeah, I don't like Mike McDaniel. Yeah, I want to get traded. All this stuff. He's lowering his – I'm not falling for this bullshit with the Chiefs. But I was thinking that – I think I had Justin Simmons as their perfect signing. Didn't they just lose Justin Reed? Yeah. I want their secondary to take a step back. I want their defense to take a step back. But no matter how many times or how many players they lose, and I predict them to not be as good, they get better. So they probably are going to get better. But it only makes sense to replace Justin Reed with another veteran to lead that defense. Justin Simmons, who's probably also wanting to go ring chasing, goes to KC. That was my perfect match for them. But what do you think, Tony, for the Chiefs?
I don't know if I have a name, but I would say, like, if I was going to, it would probably be corner, right? It would, like, to give them the opportunity to make sure that they can move McDuffie wherever they want in that defense, or safety. They're pretty good. Like,
they're good.
Yeah. Like edge rusher, like maybe they're a Clowney destination. It would probably be somewhere defensively, because I don't think that there's a tackle out there that's going to be an upgrade over what they have, like where their concerns are at offensive line. And I think they have plenty of great options as pass catchers right now. And like you're saying, if they trade for Tyreek Hill, that's ridiculous.
Any shout outs, Joe, for the Chiefs' perfect free agent in addition?
Nick Chubb. Okay. Bring in Nick Chubb.
Yeah, and we were talking about the running back thing and how, drafting in the first round and all of our teams having to try and find running backs, while the Chiefs literally go and grab their guy from 8 years ago who punted someone in the head and put him back out there, and he rushes for 1,000 yards with his eyes closed. So
I don't know what Nick Chubb has, but I heard I've read that he's healthy and ready to go. And
I want Chubb to the Cowboys. I want Chubby Chubb to Dallas. That's what I want to see.
I don't know. I've always rooted for Nick Chubb, so I want to see him in a good situation. And it's cool to say Chubb all the time.
And then for the Broncos, I think the Broncos wide receivers are getting way, way overhyped. Last year and this year, they didn't really add anyone. You got Sutton out there, who I guess is their wide receiver one, even though he's 31 and he just had his second. He only has 2,000-yard seasons, and he barely passed that mark in 17 games last year with one starter. All the Broncos fans said that he didn't put up the numbers because his quarterback was always rotating and all that. He had one starter the entire year last year, and they still didn't upgrade the position. Maybe they think Mims or Vele is going to be their wide receiver one in the future. Troy Franklin maybe breaking out. So I think I would go receiver for Denver's perfect free agency ad, and get their rookie quarterback, another weapon maybe. I was thinking either Gabe Davis or Amari Cooper for them. I think Gabe Davis is probably a better fit for Denver. So I'm going to go with Gabe Davis for them.
Gabe Davis.
I forget that. I keep forgetting that Amari Cooper's still out there.
Amari Cooper is still out there. He can still run a nice route.
But he fell off so much with Buffalo last year that you didn't even remember that he was on the team.
That's true. Well, he did pitch it to Josh Allen when he definitely didn't get stopped for forward motion.
The Broncos one for me is J.K. Dobbins.
Oh, I like that. I probably didn't even think of that in my head. Just erase that one.
Yeah, just I think if they can add somebody to be sort of
that makes so much sense actually.
Like a Pierre Thomas and Darren Sproles type backfield that they could have for those type of players that he's had in his past, where you have somebody that's, going to have a chance to get you some explosive plays when it's blocked up like J.K. Dobbins, and then somebody that's just going to be able to create and you can design those type of plays with R.J. Harvey.
I think that's a good take. I do. That's probably a better take than mine, even, Tony's.
Bill Flames, I'm with Mike on the mic. What's up, the brand new one time for your mind? He gave you fair warning. Now it's time to smack him in the mouth with that raw sports talk from the town. Sweet chin music to your favorite sportscaster.